Hey everybody, KP here. Today is an interesting day because I just had my first official day as the Bowley Scholar. If you're not familiar with that, that is a scholarship that's available at the University of Mary Washington where I attend. And part of that scholarship is that I get to be an intern at the James Monroe Museum. That's, maybe, I guess, a 5-minute drive from the school. So, for my very first official day as the Bowley Scholar, I got to walk through the museum and just review the entire collection from top to bottom. Took me about 2 hours to get through the whole thing. There were a couple of new additions there since the last time I went to the museum. There was a powder horn that last time I went it was being researched, so it wasn't actually a exhibit out on the floor. And then I believe this time there was a section on Gabriel's Rebellion that I don't recall seeing the last time I was there. I was there last year. My museum's class took a trip to the James Monroe Museum, and we walked through the museum briefly there for, I guess it was about 45 minutes of class time. And I do not remember, there's a small mention to or about Bacon's rebellion. Oh my goodness. There was a small mention of Gabriel's rebellion, totally different thing. And this time I feel like there was an exhibit in a different room that was a little more detailed. So that was interesting just to see that. I made a lot of notes and I have a lot of questions. Can't wait to ask those next week when I return. But that's pretty much it for today and my new activities. I'm actually creating this video not to tell you about my new internship, but I had some minutes. I was supposed to work until 5, but I finished up at 4 before I hit the road because it's like right at rush hour and travel is like super awful here. It's not quite in Northern Virginia, but it's very close. The closer you get to DC, the worse traffic gets. And so rush hour here starts about 4 and lasts, I guess, until about 6-ish. And I have to ride down one of the most terrible interstates ever, I-95. So I don't look forward to that. I think I'm just gonna pass the time for a couple of minutes. I looked online. I thought maybe I should visit some cemeteries, see what's around. Since I just finished reading about Gabriel's Rebellion, I was like, let me see if I can find some African American or Black cemeteries in the Fredericksburg area to visit. I visited the Shiloh Baptist Cemetery a couple weeks ago. I haven't released that video yet. So I didn't want to do that one again. I was like, well, what else is there? I don't really know because I'm not from here. So I'm still learning about the area. So I looked online and I came across this app called Trapes, Traipse, Trapes. And they have like some virtual tours you can take of the area. And I thought, well, let me see what they have. And they have let me see what it's called here on my phone. I just downloaded it, so I'm still kind of viewing it. It's called the African American Heritage of Fredericksburg Tour. It says log in to start. Oh, I'm not doing all that right now. Anyway, they have several stops. Some of the stops on here are the Visitor Center. There's a mural, something about civil rights, another mural, the Shiloh Baptist Church old site and the new site. There's a lot of things on here. I'm not sure how they exactly connect to the African American heritage or history here in Fredericksburg, because a lot of these have been redone into modern buildings that have different uses today. So there's that. But on this tour is Liberty Town. And let me just do this real quick because it's going to force me to log in to see what this thing says. It's just not trying to work with me at all. So I'll log in with the school email. I hate things that want you to log in before you can use them. It's super annoying. Continue. Let's see. Okay. So now it seems happy. I can click start the journey. Your journey starts in 3, 2, 1, 0. I didn't know it was going to give me a countdown. Let's see. I'm going to turn my camera around. Maybe not. Oh, it's 3, isn't it? It's like, no, I don't want to listen to you today. Okay, so you can see here. There's your tour name. It says there's 14. I've completed 0 of 14. I don't know how clear or blurry that is. And then it lists all the sites that are around where I'm parked. There's actually quite a good number of sites on here, so that's cool. And the one that I'm trying to go to, if I can enlarge this, should be right up the road from me. Anyway, let me turn this back around. All right. Okay. I should have played with this app before starting the video anyway, just to see sort of what it does. Okay, so when I click Liberty Town, it says visit here for a challenge. I don't know what that means, so I'm tempted to visit there. I'm only like a 3-minute walk from Liberty Town. Turn this around so you can see. I think I can see Liberty Town, like this little picture right here. I'm pretty sure I can see that right from my car. And it looks like there should be a historic board right there that tells us something. And there's some words here. It says Liberty Town was once a separate community annexed by Fredericksburg in 1851. Fredericksburg's notable contribution to the area was a cemetery, which was used for African American burials and later Confederate dead during the Civil War. After the Civil War, the cemetery was moved to the area developed into, I can't read today. After the Civil War, the cemetery was moved and the area developed into a predominantly African American community. And then it has the address and then like a navigate button. So I'm curious to see what that challenge is. Turn this back around here. Anyway, so I'm going to walk down here. I will take you with me. It's just 3 minutes. That's not far. Perhaps I can find something to talk about while I'm walking. If not, you can just like enjoy the nature. Because my thing is sort of like uncut videos. I don't like to do a lot of editing. I just sort of like to explore in real time, and it also makes it easier for me later. I'm not trying to produce professional grade stuff here. I'm just trying to show y'all what I see, basically. So let's get started. Got my mic, got my bag. I've got my wide lens on my camera today. I found it, yay. I actually lost it when I was in Paris and then found it, so that's good. All right, out we go. All right, off we go. Make sure I lock my car before I get too far away. Gotta love technology and cars that you don't have to be directly in front of to lock them. Now it's weird. I did not see a tree moving, but there is wind like smacking me in the face. So, as usual, when I go out, I apologize for the wind. Nothing I can do to change it. It just is what it is. I'm going to turn on my app here, tell it to navigate. Let's see, start. You can see there. says I'm 1 minute away, 200 feet. Wow, it's getting windier. I think I'm just going to end up cutting across the street here, because I believe it's this little triangular shaped area over here. Okay, well, here we are. My app doesn't seem happy with me being here, but we'll see what's what. So this is talking about the veterans. We have an old map of the area. Says the flagpole comprised the first memorial and lists the names of local men killed in France during World War I. 40, I guess MM is millimeter, I don't know. Anti-aircraft gun is a reminder of World War II. I guess that's this guy right here. Large granite panels were placed on an expanded island in 2008. It created a central location where the community can recognize and commemorate members of the United States Armed Forces in this region who have fallen in overseas conflicts. Can't read again. Additional memorials can be found on the grounds of the former school, where students have remembered their peers with benches, flagpoles, and plaques. The town renamed the old Fredericksburg High School after Matthew Fontaine Maury, a local boy who grew up to do pioneering research in oceanography. Well, an officer in the United States Navy. That's so funny because I wanted to be an oceanographer when I was younger, and now I cannot say the word. So I don't know if this is the same location because it's still saying I'm not quite there. But it did say that it was a cemetery and then became it was an African American cemetery and then became a place for the Confederates who had died during the Civil War. So I don't know if this is that particular location or if it's this whole area. But we're going to walk some more and explore and see what else we see. Here we go. Oh my, look at all the bird poop. Oh, terrible placement under a tree, I guess. It's nice for shade, but bad for birds, right? Oh, and my thing just told me I've arrived. There we go. So I must be here. Okay, you can go away now. But it was saying go there for a challenge, but there's no challenge, so I don't know what that means. But here we go, Liberty Town. It says, Seth Barton, 1755 to 1813, fought in the American Revolution, grew wealthy as a shipping merchant, and speculated in real estate. He laid out the subdivision that came to be called Liberty Town in 1812. He is buried at St. George's Church. So I guess this is the guy who created this thing here, which was Liberty Town. Gotta love these old historic maps. It says focusing failed. Looks like you focused to me, camera. You're okay. And it goes on. Henry Dean was born a slave in Powhatan County, but can't tell what that says because of the poop. Maybe lived in Fredericksburg in 1868 as a free man. He worked for several local businesses, but also managed his own livery and speculated in real estate. Okay, it doesn't say like why he's important to the area. Well, let's continue on. Maybe something else will tell us why they mention. I mean, I get the use of Seth Barton, right? Because he set out this plot or whatever. But why did it mention Henry Dean? I don't know. So they have a bunch of cool little pictures. All right, here. Liberty Town is outlined in red on this 1890 map of Fredericksburg, as you see right there. The roads at odd angles to the street grid followed the terrain rather than the established street pattern. Gotcha. And then we have here, this is quite interesting. Okay, so I told y'all that I visited the African American cemetery that is the site of the Shiloh Baptist Cemetery. And here is a picture of the gates. It says African Americans buried in Potter's Field were reinterred in the Shiloh Cemetery at Little Page Street and Monument Avenue. So maybe the cemetery here in Liberty Town was a Potter's Field, and they took those people from here and reburied them at the Shiloh Cemetery. That's what it sounds like. And that would match up with what the app told me, right? Like the people who were buried here were moved, but it didn't say where they were moved to. But now we know. All right, this may be nearly impossible to read because of all of the grossness happening, but let's see. You can see there's a picture of a house. It says small dwellings characterize this post-Civil War African American community. The frame dwelling in this photo was located on Liberty Street to your front. I guess that's here, right in front of me. The brick building in the background is still there. So there's the brick building. Brick building in the background is still there. Oh, maybe it's... Can y'all see that? Not the big giant red building, but that white building behind it. Those windows, even though they've been redone, those windows there seem to match up with the windows in this picture. The chimney looks very similar. You have a central chimney there. Well, of course, we're standing at like a different angle, right? So it's hard to see, but the dormer window there, it's in the rooftop. And I'm sorry, I know this is kind of blurry because we're looking at a black and white picture, but the dormer window that's there is the same as the dormer window. It's up here to the left of the chimney. So I think we're looking at the same building. Don't know what that building is. That just kind of places us at a point in time in history, right? Just kind of cool. All right, and here we go. Henry Dean. Now we learn about Henry Dean. Henry Dean built many of the small houses in Liberty Town, some of which are still visible. So these are some of the homes that Henry Dean built. This is the man that was born a slave in Powhatan County, but moved to Fredericksburg as a free man in 1868. So that's why it was important to know that he speculated in real estate. I wonder if these are the houses like right across the street. I'm just looking up here trying to see if I see houses that sort of correspond. I mean, there's similar houses, but I don't know. It's hard to say because things could have been redone by now and all. But people are like on their porches and walking around, so I don't want to disturb folks to try and figure out what houses are original. And there's a lot of tree cover, which makes it difficult to tell. Let's see. It says this small community laid out on the edge of town in 1812 greeted overland travelers with a wagon yard, a livery, a blacksmith, and a tavern/hotel. The tavern was called Rising Sun, later the Western Hotel, and stood on Liberty Street to your front. It burned down in 1836. Oh, that's sad. Fredericksburg annexed Liberty Town in 1851 and established a burial ground. Initially called Potter's Field, it was later referred to as the Colored Cemetery. In 1861, the town allowed the burial there of 51 Confederate soldiers who had succumbed to disease in nearby encampments. After the Civil War, The town curtailed burials, and this area developed as an African American neighborhood. Many of the graves were removed to the Shiloh Cemetery, which opened in 1882, while new houses and commercial enterprises filled in the streetscapes. The Fredericksburg High School, to your left, I guess that is this big old building down here, kind of looks big enough to be a high school. The Fredericksburg High School has occupied a prominent site since 1919, and students still use its related athletic field. Okay, well, I don't know if the high school is still used as a high school. It doesn't say, but I'm guessing it is still used as a high school. So that's interesting. So there was a cemetery here, initially called a Potter's Field, later called the Colored Cemetery. I've actually seen this cemetery on some historic maps of the area. I've done research here multiple times for my classes. I've done research on John Herkamp, who was a guy who really well known, like German immigrant. He came here and started a huge business. I think he worked with like leather. I'm stretching my memory here because I think it was like a year ago that I did this research. He reinvented our use for certain trees that grow in America. I can't remember. It was connected to leather, making leather, and dude, I almost want to like pull out my phone real quick and look them up. Because my research was focused more on the property, so I was doing deed research, and less on the man, but the historic significance was sort of made through this man using the property. I think he had like a sumac mill or something. Let me look it up. John Herkamp, MP. Of course, I typed in her lamp instead of her camp because I'm trying to type it in with my left hand. He was a Fredericksburg city official, bank director, councilman, member of the Whig committee, a tanner. That's what it was. He was a tanner. So John Herkamp had a cemetery turned into a park. It says in 1774, St. George's Parish purchased the land that comprises Herkamp Park today. It was to be a church cemetery, but in 1787, after the Revolution and disestablishment of the Anglican Church in America, the Corporation of Fredericksburg appropriated this land for a public burying ground. The western lot line of the cemetery coincided with the town boundary and is still marked by a brick wall. After burials ended in 1853, the corporation burying ground fell into disrepair, which is a common story in the United States. The cemetery served as a site during the Civil War, and livestock grazed among the graves in its aftermath. In 1875, the Fredericksburg City Council sought to convert the neglected grounds to a public park, and crews began removing headstones and graves to other cemeteries. Where? On July 12, 1881, the new park was dedicated and named in honor of prominent local businessman John G. Herkamp. It goes on and on and on. I had always wondered like who was buried in that cemetery. I suppose I could do the research to find out, but that came up during my studies when I was researching this property and John Herkamp and his significance to the Fredericksburg area. He was really well known, very involved in the community. At one point, I think he got arrested like during the Civil War because he had harbored some Confederate people in his property or whatever, but I don't know, it's a difficult and complicated story, but eventually he ended up getting out because he knew somebody who like spoke on his behalf or whatever. Additionally, he worked as a tanner. He sold his products to like France. He attended several of the World Expos. He won several awards for his products and the quality of his products. He was like the major exporter for the United States during certain periods of time. He won several awards, one being issued from the president at the time, President of the United States, and another award from France for his products. He was just very well known, and those are just sort of what I remember from my research. Not super specific, as you notice. I didn't give any dates or anything. Me and dates don't get along, as you will learn from my videos. But yeah, so let me see. Fredericksburg cemeteries and the corporation burial ground. I might do some more research on this later, especially since it corresponds to cemetery research. But anyway, that seems to be a common story here in Fredericksburg, where cemeteries are picked up and moved to another location. I'm not going to say it's just Fredericksburg. It has happened all over the United States. It still happens today. And sometimes they're not even moved. Sometimes people just build right on through them, right on top of them, whatever the case may be. So this place here in Liberty Town is no exception, apparently. All right, well, let's continue to look around this space and see what else we see. This is the flagpole they're talking about. You see the flags up there. It's the POWMIA site up there. And I apologize for my sniffles, y'all. I have been getting over a cold or something. I don't know. All right, so they have names of people placed into the bricks. You can see here. Looks like there's people from Vietnam, World War II, military, citizen military reservists, the CW4 Army, Battlefield Chapter Reserve Officers Association, from the Navy in World War II, VFW. Yeah, so there's people from all over the place, or organizations from all over. Recognized U.S. Marine Corps. Yeah, a lot. Ooh, the Great Ghost Chapter. Wonder what that is. And then, I'm sorry we're facing the sun here, so it's kind of difficult to see. I'll step close to kind of be in the shade. There's a marker here with the eagle on top. And it says, oh, the sun. I do apologize, y'all. Just trying to block it with my hand, but it's not working well. It says Fredericksburg Roll of Honor, 1917, World War, 1918. A grateful tribute to all who returned. And then it lists groups that were involved. A tearful triumph to those who sleep. Names of people who died. I won't read all of those because it's quite a lot. Here, I'll take a picture, and if I remember when I'm editing, I will post this picture over top of the video. Ugh, the sun is terrible, so that may not happen. Sorry, I know I've got y'all looking off to the side while I do this. I might just be able to go online and grab a picture of it too. I sometimes pick the worst, absolute worst times to go on these explorations. Oh, that's nice. There's a little sign up here that says to Liberty Street, kind of directing you if you wanted to find perhaps a historic street. I wonder if these houses over here are the houses that were mentioned on that board, because that one right there looks definitely like one of them. You have more soldiers' names over here. So many, all the way up to the monument. This is our fallen heroes, and I'll grab some pictures. I'm gonna switch hands with my camera. There are times when it'd be nice to have a cameraman, huh? All right. There. Get out of the sunshine a little bit. Maybe y'all can see a little bit better. It's beautiful. And it has names inscribed. So for World War I is here. World War II are the next two after that. And then the Vietnam War here. They're also front and back, just to give you an idea of how many people are inscribed here. And then we have blank ones, probably for wars that haven't happened yet. The nice thing about this monument is that there's room to grow. That sounds terrible. I don't mean it in a morbid way. But just as history unfurls and we do more research and we learn more about people, it would be nice to be able to add their names to the list to honor them. That's all I mean by that. Take you around so you can see. And that's that. And this is the space. I don't think there's anything else to see. I was looking for any more historic markers, but that might be it. And more names as we walk out. And this is the high school that was mentioned in the historic plaque, Fredericksburg High School. And over there, across the street, is the sports field that was mentioned. I know it's difficult to see from here. I'm just walking down to check on the back side of this to make sure there's no more historic markers. Sometimes those markers are placed in really odd spaces. Look, there's one of my favorite restaurants back there. Sedona. Shout out to Sedona. Send me free food. Alright. So walk, we can see the white building back there, one of the brick historic buildings. You can see it a little bit better here. And we are going to now head back to the car. All right. Whoa, we're really close to me. Let me zoom that out. Sorry about that. I just love getting y'all really close to my face. I don't know what that's about. Anyway, thank y'all so much for walking with me today. It was nice. I might include this video as like a supplement to my visit to the Shiloh Cemetery, especially since it mentions it here. I did not know that the people that were buried here were moved to the Shiloh Cemetery. I didn't know where they were moved to. So it's really good to have that information to add to my history of the area and your history of the area. All right, I'm gonna head back to my car. Thank y'all for watching. If you happen to be in the Fredericksburg area, stop by some of these places, give them a visit, check them out, learn something new, and reconnect with your history. All right, thanks for joining me on A Place for KP. I'll see you next time. Bye.